So I receive an email from Starbond asking me if I'd like to review and then possibly recommend their products to my audience. Well, that blew me away on 2 counts. Count number 1, that they think this channel has got a large enough audience to warrant giving away some of their product. Thank you, Starbond. Count number 2, really embarrassingly, I've never used their product before and I've never heard of their product before. Apologies, Starbond. Anyway, this is what I've come up with. So first of all, what is it? Years ago, I would have called it super glue or Loctite or crazy glue maybe. Today, we just refer to it as CA or cyano, which is short for cyanoacrylate. Quoting from Wikipedia, and I'll put the link to the article below, cyanoacrylates are a family of strong, fast-acting adhesives with industrial, medical and household uses. Okay. They're derived from ethyl cyanoacrylate and related esters. Really? The cyanoacrylate group in the monomer rapidly polymerizes in the presence of water to form long, strong chains. In the presence of water. Interesting. It was invented in 1942 and then patented in 1947. So it's been around for absolutely ages. I never knew that. Wikipedia then goes on to say a whole bunch of stuff that I can't even pronounce, let alone understand. So I'll skip all over that, but there's a couple of interesting points. Point number 1, it states the presence of moisture causes the glue to set. Didn't know that. Point number 2, cyanoacrylates have a short shelf life, about 1 year from manufacture if unopened, and 1 month if opened. Neither manufacturer nor I agree with that comment on Wikipedia. In fact, Titebond state on their website that the product will last for 2 years. Starbond state on their website the product will last for a couple of years. But then Starbond go on to say that if you store the product correctly under 40 degrees Fahrenheit before and after usage, that they will cover the product by a 20-month warranty. That if the product goes off in the bottle within 20 months, if you store it in those conditions, they'll replace it free of charge. Good to know. I've been using this particular bottle of Titebond Medium Cyano for 6 to 8 months. I don't do anything special with it. I don't run and put it in the fridge after every time I've used it. I put the lid back on and I pop it back on the shelf. And when I say I put the lid back on, the lid will no longer fit fully back on. It just kind of sits somewhat on top, like Harry Potter's sorting hat a little. And that's it. The product's still fine for the uses I put it to. And those uses are for gap and crack filling in woods, stabilizing knots and using it as a filler. So next I want to talk about the packaging or the presentation of the products. So the products that I've got on the bench in front of me are these 2 Titebond products, and that's all I've used them for, pretty much exclusively cornice and palmet miters in kitchens. And they always come with a bottle of adhesive and a tin of accelerator. So if you've used one more than the other, you're kind of buggered really. You've got to buy the pack again. But really good products, recommend those. Titebond, we're all pretty familiar with the Titebond range of adhesives, aren't we? And I wonder whether they're sitting on their laurels a little bit, because when you buy a bottle of their cyano, that's all you get. That's it, just the bottle, nothing else. And as you saw on my well-used bottle of cyano, the cap ends up not fitting very well unless you're a lot more careful than I am and you wipe the nozzle every time before you put it away, which obviously I don't. So the first thing that struck me about the Starbond was the presentation. So point number 1, 2 nozzles. Point number 2, different sized nozzles, smaller nozzles to get into those awkward little places. Sounds like a cotton bud advert, doesn't it? And finally, on the packaging, let's have a look at the leaflet that comes in the Starbond pack. So on the front side, as you can see, there's a section on what's included, what you should find in each package. And then it goes on to say that it's guaranteed for 30 months shelf life if stored under 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It gets even better. Then we've got a little section on how to put the applicator on and how to store it after usage. Then on the flip side, some safety instructions and some usage tips. So it really leaves you well armed, I believe, to use the product. I'll just talk a little bit about the pricing. Both bottle sizes are the same, 2 fluid ounces. And I found prices online for the Starbond medium size, now purely as an example, of $10.50, and for the Titebond of $15. So that's nearly 50% more. And the prices are almost identical in the UK. The Starbond product's available for £10.50 and Titebond for £14.90. Again, nearly 50% more. And let's not forget with the Starbond product that we get the extra nozzles and the sealed cap. At this point, I just want to state that I've never felt need to complain in any way, shape or form about the Titebond product. Been using it for a number of years and I'm really happy with it. In fact, I believe it's my fault that the cap no longer fits because I've never wiped the nozzle before putting the cap back on again. However, it just feels that Starbond have gone that little bit further to ensure I don't get even that problem. But as yet, I've not used the product. And finally, a couple of tests. So on the right, I've got a couple of knots that need filling. So I've got the Titebond and the Starbond thick. In the middle, I've got a piece that's broken off. So I'm going to glue that back on using the Starbond medium. And then on the left, I've got a piece with a particularly bad glue joint on it that's gapped. And I'm going to try this pre-coloured Starbond medium thick. So firstly, fill in the knots with Titebond thick. That is thick. And then the other with the Starbond thick. So both products have wicked down into the 2 knots and left quite a bit of residue on the surface. So I'm going to get rid of that. Give them a little top up. So next up, I'm going to see if I can reattach this end piece that's broken off using the Starbond medium. And then last but not least, this Starbond medium thick pre-coloured brown. I'm thinking for a gap of this size I could really have done with a medium, not a medium thick, but it does seem to be penetrating really well. So I'm afraid I got a little distracted and the products have all been sat drying on the bench for approximately 2 hours. However, not a bad thing. And you can see on the brown it's penetrated quite well down through the crack. It needs a little bit more on the top to fill it, but seems to have performed quite well. The medium cyano gluing the piece back on the end. Again, that seems to have done its job fairly well, as you'd expect. And filling the gaps in the knots. The knot that I filled with the Starbond has penetrated or wicked away more, but I don't necessarily think that's representative of a difference in the product, more of the gap that was in the knot itself, because I'm sure you'll agree that one's bigger than this one. But again, they seem to have done a similar job. Now let me be the first to state that's probably the most minimal product testing anybody could ever hope to get away with. I fully appreciate that, and this video was never meant to be extensive product testing. I believe that can only be performed by using the product on a daily basis over a number of weeks and months and then reporting back, and I will do that. But in this video, what I wanted to do was a basic comparison of what you get for your money and just a couple of little tests to see how it performs. I'm really happy with what I've seen so far. I'm really happy with the price point of the product compared to Titebond, the product I've been using, and I'm really happy with what they put in the package. So from that perspective, a couple more marks for Starbond than for Titebond. Hopefully I'm going to have a chance to use the product extensively over the coming months, and then I'll feel able to come back and tell you what I actually think of it as a working adhesive in my workshop. Before I go, the wonderful peeps at Starbond have also given me a discount code that you can use on the .com website. I don't think it's any benefit for the peeps in the UK, but I'll check it and leave appropriate comments below with all the links to the documents and the sites and so on and so forth to help you should you wish to purchase Starbond CA for yourself. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vid and hope to see you next time. Ta-ra.